To the Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting are held on the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. All meetings are conducted at PRHA's main office, 3116 South Street, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23707, unless otherwise noted. All members of the public are welcome to attend. And here at Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority, we're making our city more inviting than ever. All right, roll call. Madam Secretary.
All right. Commissioner Barham.
Here.
Commissioner Jiggets.
Present.
Commissioner Prince.
Present.
Commissioner Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Wicks.
Here.
Vice Chair Lalonde.
Here.
And Chair Smith.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Awesome. Commissioners, before you have the minutes from September 19, 2019, minutes of the meetings. Is there any in readiness? Chairs will need a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I second.
Motion properly second. Madam Secretary.
All right. Commissioner Barham.
Aye.
Commissioner Jiggets.
No.
Commissioner Prince.
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks.
Aye.
Vice Chair Lalonde.
Yes.
And Chair Smith.
Yes. Alrighty. Old business. Mr. Bland. Do you have any?
No, I don't have anything from the last meeting, unless one of the commissioners have a question in reference to something from the last meeting.
Specifically from the last meeting is what you're
Yeah, from the
asking?
old business, yeah.
There being none, okay. New business. Have before us Resolution 2019-46. It's a resolution authorizing execution of purchase agreement, one or more deeds bargaining and sale with Set Store Real Estate Company LLC, or as assigned for development of certain property located at 0 Effingham, tax map parcel number 0029-0090, Portsmouth, Virginia.
These two items, the first two items, 46 and 47, will be in closed session.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, cool. All right. Going next to our next item, Resolution 2019-48, resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for janitorial service between Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority and TJC Janitorial, Inc.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Actually, the next four resolutions are all the same solicitation.
Yes, ma'am.
We're just awarding, would like to award to multiple contracts.
Okay.
We issued a request for proposal 2906 for janitorial services to select a firm to provide janitorial services primarily for vacant unit turnover. They do this on an all-needed basis within 24 hours of notification by us that we have a unit available to be cleaned. We currently have a contract with two firms for these services. The RFP was issued June 14th and it was advertised with the following: Virginia Pilot, the New Journal of God, through EVA, which is the state's electronic procurement website, and on our website. Almost 3,500 firms will receive notification that this solicitation was available. We actually had 10 firms excuse me, to respond, which was quite a few. The proposals were due July 18th in the procurement office. Due to the nature of the solicitation, we had an evaluation committee that was made up of our Director of Asset Management, Compliance Officer, one of the housing managers, and the maintenance supervisor. And we did preliminary scoring of the proposals to determine who would make the competitive range based on their technical factors such as their experience, staffing, methodology, their work plan. Those are all evaluation factors, as well as Section 3 and their woman business or minority business status. Firms that made it to the competitive range were then considered for our price evaluation. Based on that, we had 5 firms made the competitive range. We're recommending that we award to 4 of those firms. The firms that we recommend that we award to are Brooks and Brooks Services, Ron and Sons Janitorial Services, CRC's Janitorial Services, and TJC Janitorial. TJC and Ron and Sons are currently under contract with us for those services. So we definitely have experience with them. The fifth firm that made the competitive range, we did not recommend award to that firm because although they scored high technically, their price was out of line with everyone else. Most of the prices that we got from the four firms we're recommending that we award to, their prices were 19 to 56% below our cost estimate, which is based on what we're currently paying annually, about $79,000. But this other offerer, their price was 38% above our independent cost estimate. And they were almost 3 or 4 times that of the other firms. And we could not recommend award to that firm based on facts. All of the firms that we would recommend award to have extensive janitorial experience. One of them, CRC's Janitorial Services is a Section 3 firm, so we would definitely like to give her an opportunity. She currently does some vacant unit turnover for a couple of communities in Newport News. So the others, we have the other firms we listed as Section 3, and that they have agreed to award to hire Section 3 individuals. Yes.
Give us a brief example or definition for
Of what
the
Section
commission,
3
Section
is?
3 for them.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that's new. Section 3 is a HUD requirement. Comes from the HUD regulations that to the greatest extent feasible, if you receive a contract by an agency that are receiving HUD funds, you have to hire low-income residents or contract with firms that either employ or are owned by low-income residents. In this case, CRC's Janitorial, the owner of CRC's is a Section 3 resident, meaning she is a low-income resident. We have Brooks and Brooks, Ron's Janitorial, have both committed to hire. They have hired low-income individuals, so they were able to qualify as Section 3 based on the individuals that work with them. They're all small businesses. CRC is a woman-owned business, and they are all minority-owned businesses.
Awesome.
Very
Great work. Great work. Great work.
Could I just make one
Go ahead.
comment? I just want to say I was very excited to see these procurement opportunities for Section 3. So I do want to applaud you on that. And normally I have a lot of vocal feedback, but it is very positive on this. I'm very excited that the Section 3 program is working so well for the Housing Authority.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other comments, Commissioner? There being none, thank you, Dolores. All right. And we gotta go through our 40s. All right. All right. Chair is in need of a motion for Resolution 2019-48, authorizing execution of contract for janitorial service between Ports Redevelopment Housing Authority and TJC Janitorial, Inc.
Mr. Chairman, can we combine all 4 of them since, or do we have to,
We gotta read all of them.
all have to be individual?
Yeah, individual.
Yeah, I make the motion
Okay.
on the second.
This motion properly second, Madam Secretary?
All right, Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. Commissioner, before you have Resolution 2019-49, resolution authorizing the execution of the contract for janitorial service between Ports Redevelopment and Housing Authority and CRC's Janitorial Service LLC. Chairs need a motion.
Motion to, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we accept the resolution 2019-49 for CRC's janitorial services.
Second.
This motion properly second, Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. Commissioners, before you have Resolution 2019-50, resolution authorizing execution of the contract for janitorial services between Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority and Ron Sons Janitorial Service LLC.
Make a motion to accept resolution 2019-50.
I second.
So motion proper second, Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. Commissioners, before you have Resolution 2019-51, resolution authorizing execution of the contract for janitorial service between Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority and Brooks and Brooks Service Incorporated. Chair's leave a motion.
So moved. Second.
Madam Secretary?
All right, Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. All right, next item of business we have is reports. Mr. Bland?
Commissioners, in your package was the September significant activity report as well as the October significant activity report. Any questions you have reference to those reports, or if you don't have any today, if you have any later on, you can also reach out to me and I can come back and respond for you.
Just had
Question on it.
of course, there's always about a dozen comments there. On page 1 of the October report, you showed, and I talked to Carol, so I think I know what the answer is, but we show on occupancy division 2,300 on the Section 8 waiting list, all right? And then if you go to the verbiage on page 3, it says that there's 2,800 on the waiting list. So I just want to make sure those two get singled up. 2,800 is the right number. I don't know where 2367 came from. It might be just
Typo?
might be a typo. The other one, a couple other comments. There was discussions about a RAB meeting happening, and we had talked before about having the minutes available to RAB meetings when we meet. So if you could just get those circulated to us, I'd appreciate it. Because I know they didn't meet, I guess they didn't meet in September, but they met in October. So just want to make sure those meetings are there. I was very, very impressed with, I'm continuing to be impressed with FSS. All right, I mean, just overwhelming what they've been doing with the seniors. The job fair, looks like it was super attended, so that's great that we're working with not only the seniors, but also trying to get employment. I saw that there was some great employment for those folks. There was a lot of work, and the two major housing units, of course, Dale and Swanson, a lot of major work being done with Swanson, a lot of good coordination, a lot of good community events. I didn't see anything about Dale, right? And I don't know if either we're not talking about it or we don't have a focus on activities at Dale.
All of our activities are open to everyone.
Understand
Swanson
that.
has the community center.
Understand they
Dale
do.
does not, so the residents, we transport.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have a van that we transport the residents to, our location, just like the family fun night, we do stuff at foundations going also.
Just
But
asking
it's a space.
that we just figure out what we can do with Dale, all right? Because the last couple months, and I talk about the security person, I know we'll talk about it in a bit, but I see tremendous efforts in the decline of issues with the police that we're seeing in Swanson and Dale. And obviously, it's a synergistic thing. What y'all do helps, what the police does help, if you have a security person helping, towing cars is fantastic. And as y'all know, I've been talking for months about Swanson and Dale. Those are our properties. We're the tenants of those properties. We own those properties. So the more we can do to help with that. But again, I don't have the answer of what you need to do. All I'm asking, I know we talked about a playground and we talked about other things at Dale, but we've put a lot of investment there in the properties, and just wondering if we could or give me some visibility of what's going on with the Dale residents.
Okay.
The last one is, I was just wondering if we could, with Swanson particularly, is that clinic, is it still going on, that health clinic, is it still going on at Swanson?
Yes, it's still going on.
Yeah, if maybe give us a metric every month or so, how many people actually use the clinic, so we know that the clinic's being used.
Okay, yeah, we can try to get that from the practitioner.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're without a position right now, so
Okay.
they actually, you know.
because that's a big deal. That's a nice thing we do out there.
Yeah, I
is
can see if they can
having that
provide that, they may or may not, based on HIPAA law, I don't know, but I can reach out to them and ask them.
clinic. Yeah, don't want to ask who, Wayne, just like to know that
Yeah.
there's numbers
People
using
going,
it,
that's
that's
what
all.
he's saying.
Okay.
You
Okay.
finished?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
No, I didn't want to
Yes, ma'am.
interrupt you.
Mhm.
Okay, I
Commissioner
guess,
Diggins.
on
Thank you, Commissioner Londa.
page 1 of the October 31st report, I just need clarification because we're saying, as we had done the recap on the page 2, we indicate 178 units vacant and awaiting demolition. And that's inaccurate. We've got 89 waiting demolition. The other 89 were demolished. Am I not correct on that? It's on page 2.
Let me get back to you on that, let me look at the numbers, and I don't wanna give you a bad answer at this moment, but what I can do, I can get back to you on that.
Well, okay, and that's fine, but we know for a fact that the Lincoln Park units, in total, it was 178 units.
Correct.
And we know for a fact the Breeden Company took down phase 1 of the units, and that would have been the 89 of the 178 that were demolished. So those are the
Now,
facts.
yeah, if you go to page 2,
Yeah, I'm on page 2.
and you look at the footnote, it say, halfway down in the bullet, that say, does not include 82 units that have been demolished.
Well, the problem is, it's misleading, you know, because you're showing 178 units for Lincoln Park, vacant and waiting demolition. And of course, it's very important because we understand that what we're gonna call phase 2, 89 is awaiting demolition, so that still needs to be a correction for that. And, I don't know if it's okay to bring it up at this point, but the other question I did want to put forth is, in March, when the pilot did the story, at that time there were 45 residents still remaining in phase 1, Lincoln Park. I want to know how many residents are still remaining.
0.
They're all been placed,
Phase 1 is demoed and phase 2 is vacant.
excuse me, I stand corrected, phase 2, the 45, are they out? There is no residents in there at all, just an eyesore needing to be demolished as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Diggins. Any other commission, anything? Okay. Alrighty. That's my agenda. Okay, we move on to our executive director's comments. Mr. Blaine, departmental updates.
We invited, Lieutenant Parker to come in and talk to us today from the police department, just to give us an update on the relationship the housing authority have with the police department since we have a security person that we hired in-house, just to talk about what the relationship and what's been going on this time.
Yeah, so I'm Lieutenant Parker, I'm the District 1 Lieutenant. The city's broken down into 3 districts. I have District 1. So Dale Holmes falls under my district, so I have a vested interest in what goes on with PRHA, because Dale Holmes, as we all know, is probably the biggest crime driver when it comes to PRHA properties in the city. Recently, with the addition of Mr. Gorley coming on as the PRHA director, he's been working, or the PRHA security director, he's been working really closely with the police department. We've been in contact with him on an almost daily basis. He's facilitated getting part-time officers out there. I have seen a drop in crime in Dale Holmes specifically. And to put this in perspective, before we had such a invested security personnel, before we had the part-time police officers, we were having quite a bit of shootings out there, specifically in Dale Holmes. There has not been a shooting in Dale Holmes or Swanson since the addition of Mr. Gorley or the part-time police officers. And I know that they're looking at some video camera equipment and some other security measures that, from our standpoint, we're very excited about, hoping to even get the crime down even more. Our current crime drivers in Dale Holmes specifically, again, is aggravated assaults A lot of those are domestic in nature. There's really nothing that we can do aside from putting a police officer in everybody's kitchen to stop that from happening. And we're having a lot of stolen cars. That's over the entire city. But in District 1, the majority of my stolen cars, the majority of my recovered stolen vehicles are either in Dale Homes or the surrounding areas.
Okay.
But if anybody had any specific questions for me, I would be glad to answer them.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner,
I'm a resident of Dale's Home, and there may not have been any reported shootings, but there's still shootings out there on a regular basis. I remember you coming to our
Community.
resident office, and I showed you the video
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
shooting that
Yes,
day. That was right in front of my front door.
Now, when I say shootings, I don't mean
I understand.
gunshots being fired. I mean people actually being
Right,
being
I
shot.
get what
So
you're
shots
saying.
fired, we would classify that as something separate from our end.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I get that, you know, shootings, someone being shot versus gunshots.
Being shot at.
But when you live in a residence or in a housing community and you're constantly hearing gunshots every night,
It's unnerving.
even though no one is being reported shot, it's still unnerving
Yes, ma'am.
and, you know, it's scary.
Well, we have what we call the Street Crimes Unit. It's a dedicated unit of proactive police officers. For my specific areas, I'm directing them towards Craddock and towards Dale Homes. And on District 1, that's my two main concerns, and it's for what you're just talking about.
Sure.
Some of these measures we put into place has decreased some of that. We've gotten a lot of guns off the street. One comes to mind right now where Mr. Gorley had built some relationships with some people in the community. They had called him up and said, hey, there's a guy shooting a gun right now on the porch of X house. He calls me, we get the officers out there immediately, get the man on the railroad tracks, and of course, he's a convicted felon, he has a firearm on his person, he went to jail. So we do our best, we can't be everywhere at all times,
Absolutely,
I wish we
absolutely.
could. But we are aware of the shooting going on out there, the non-people getting shot shootings is what we were talking about.
Sure.
And a lot of that is possibly gang-related, and I know our gang unit is looking into a lot of activity that's going on in the Dale Homes community. So I wish we had zero. That's obviously our goal to get there. We just got to keep persevering and working with the community and working with our specialized units and our partnerships with PRHA to try to achieve that.
Sure. Thank you.
thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Mr.
Commissioner
Hammond,
Rodney.
then-
And Lieutenant Paul, I appreciate the support. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. I know the chief has had 2 walks out there, which is great. And Commissioner Wicks, back to one of the 2 walks that we had, and of course, as you know, it's residents also we need the help from them just to tell what's going out there. And I know that's gonna be a big culture shift out there to do that. But Ed, my recommendation is with we had the joint session with council. You know, we brought up a couple times ago that we needed some more visibility from the police out there at Swanson and Dale, and obviously they've responded to it. And again, we can't continue to do the same thing which we were doing before, which was pretty much nothing, but maybe you need to think outside the box and say, okay, how can we get Parks and Recs out there? You know, how can we get schools out there, but just something to keep those kids, keep that community active, so there's a lot of activity going on out there. But we all both Swanson and Dale, I mean, we've just got to do something different, and the city has got to help. I know you've got a recommendation there, even for the city to pick up garbage and, you know, pick up the trash in that area. The more we got people walking around in that area that have some, you know, presence, that's good for us. But again, my only indicator is just the statistics I see in the newspapers, and I'm not seeing as much. But that doesn't mean there's not a problem, all right? Because just as easily we could turn. But I see cars being towed, I see cars being ticketed, and we just got to make an awareness. If you're out there, we're going to know you're there. And when I saw the thing about the cameras, that's absolutely fantastic, Lieutenant. I appreciate what you're going to do. Lieutenant Parker was also instrumental with us. We had a function at Safety Town, and Lieutenant Parker stepped up and helped us with a need there. And I'm going to make that offer. If you need a place for Dale Homes to meet, Safety Town's available. All right, we've got a great community center out there. We've got a great pavilion out there. It's available, you know, at night, during the day. I'll give you the key. But you know, I want, you know, this is something. It's a good place. It's a good, safe place. And if Dale Holmes wants to consider that to be their community center, that'd be fine with me. All right? Or thanks. Thanks, Lieutenant. I appreciate all the help. sir.
Commissioner?
No, I'll bow to,
Commissioner
I
Barr?
just had a
and
question.
then I'll
Yes, sir.
come in.
With the increase in visibility and interfacing between the residents and the security and the police force, have you all seen an increase in actual, people reporting the crimes that are going on, and then also like a collaboration between the citizens and the police force?
What we see happen, or what I've seen happen, is you have certain people that don't want to call the police. Even though they know that it's going to be an anonymous call, they don't feel comfortable calling the police. But we've had several people that have felt comfortable calling Mr. Gorley because he's not the police, but he has a direct line with the police. So they call him, and he's blowing my phone up all day long, trust me. And he's calling me and giving me information that we're able to act on. So we do see that. But the community partnership has always concerned me. We spoke about how we came out to Dale Homes, we've had community meetings. They have them pretty often, and the citizens, the residents that come to these meetings are few far in between. The last meeting, nobody came. The meeting before that, nobody came. The meeting that, when I met the young lady over here, I think there was 3 people there, and 2 of them were you and your husband, is that correct?
True.
And that's out of the entire
Yeah.
Dale Homes community. And for
Right.
that one, we walked around at our walk and passed out flyers to every door. So I don't know if the word's just not getting out for these meetings, or if the residents just don't care, they don't want to participate. But in order for it to work, we need a partnership, and we need the community to be more engaged.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Oh, I thought didn't you have your hand up, Vice Mayor?
Oh, no.
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't.
okay.
No.
Yes, would this be the time for me to talk about this order, or wait until we get to my comments? It sort of links in with wanting to ask, the officer.
We're about to roll right into that, so, you talking about for the new security person?
Yeah, the order of, appointment, special conservator of the peace. I had
Before you
questions
say
about
that,
that.
before you say that,
Mhm.
I was reached out to combat what we saying with Dale's Home. I was reached out to by some pro athletes. They lived in public housing just like me. So, through a nonprofit, of course, we're working on some things, and we just can't just throw it out, but we're working on things, and I'll make sure to keep you guys abreast to do something real big in Dale's Home. So we're just putting the pieces together right now. And I just have to be real with them because it's business. You're gonna cut the check, get it done. So, and
Well, can I,
yes, ma'am, go ahead.
there was one other thing though about Dale, because as a commissioner, Commissioner Wicks, if you look across the street, you see all those cars illegally parked where Rogers Funeral Home used to be. And if you look to your right as you come out on the frontage street, there is our property vacant, looking like a ghost town. And this serves no purpose to help with the crime influence in a positive way. And I mention it because it's very important. If you ride through there at night, Dale Homes itself is well lit. But the surrounding area immediately is like a ghost town, and it's scary. And I know that's gotta be a strong concern for the residents of Dale Home. Am I right, Commissioner Wicks?
Sure.
Yeah, so, we need to focus on that and go ahead and clean up the rest of what we have, because we've got to have our act together. And we need to ask the city to do some enforcement about all of those illegally parked cars that are stacked there right at what used to be Rogers Funeral Home. Do you know what I'm talking about, Lieutenant Parker? Okay, so when you patrol, I'm gonna assume you take in the inclusive area that
Sure.
includes, and you know what I'm
And with that
speaking
conditions,
to.
that's an issue that's brought up, is we have the CEO, we call him CEO, Community Engagement Officer. It's Officer
Okay.
Henderson, he's for that area. I'll make sure that he's going out there and marking those cars for tow. And what happens is if we mark it for tow, it's illegally parked, then 3 days later, if the car's not moved, we call a wrecker, they come out and snatch it. Now that's if it's on city property. If the vehicle's on private property, we have no authority on the private property. That's a whole separate entity. But if it's on city or on a city street, we can go out there and mark it for tow, mark the tires, make sure it's not been moved. 3 days later, come back and we can have it towed.
Okay, I would ask that you read up on your ordinance, because at that particular area, there's no curb.
Okay?
And so it's very difficult to make the call as to what's city-owned and what's privately owned, because I live on a street where there's no curbing.
Well, it's pretty simple. If it's on the street, it's city owned. I mean, that's,
Okay.
when I say private
They'll
property,
say
I'm talking like
on
on the actual
somebody's
parking
yard.
lot
It's pulled in.
of the funeral home. If it's on the parking lot, then that's private property. If it's on the city street, curb or no curb, that's a city street.
You'll see the challenge. But, so that was it for me. The only other thing I want to ask at this moment, Commissioner Wicks, do you see the need to actually have a shelter bus at the bus stop?
Oh, sure, I
Do you?
do.
Because I almost called, in fact, I did call TRT, but I stopped short because I said I wanted to see how you felt about it, if, you know,
But you
because as
have- you
individuals,
have
we can pursue it.
You got two
Two bus
different
stops.
stops
No
on that.
shelter, no
Yeah.
shelter,
And no shelter.
okay.
Yeah, I think that would be
They think that would
great
help too,
idea.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Vice Mayor, could you assist with that?
I think I can.
Oh, okay.
Hampton Roads,
Hampton,
Transportation.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just need the street.
I'll speak to Mr.
Yeah.
Harrell
Okay.
about that, yeah.
Yeah.
So much.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good catch,
What,
Commissioner.
what area, right across
That's
the
on
street?
Columbus Street.
Yeah, Columbus at,
Columbus
no, but it's
is
the,
between
it's right-
Lincoln and Deep Creek.
yeah, but it's across the street
Palmer.
right there.
Palmer.
Is it Palmer? Okay, okay. It might be Palmer. Yeah,
Well,
it's
the
right.
end is Lincoln. Where
Right,
the first one is.
Right.
And the second one is on Dale Drive.
yeah. It's definitely Columbus and it's, I think you're right, Palmer Street. I'll send,
Yeah,
I'll send.
it's in there.
Mhm.
I found mine. Thank
Okay,
you.
cool,
Okay.
no problem.
Yeah.
All right, we're still on commissioner comments. Mr. Blaney, no, hold up, it's on your spot. You got anything else on your,
Just a reminder that the 12th of December is our senior citizen Christmas party, which should be held at the hotel downtown like we had last year. So we need to know what, if commissioners are planning on attending, so that we can have that in a head count for food and everything. And if you plan to bring a guest with you, we need to know that also.
Question, when you say senior citizens party, I mean, is it for seniors or, I mean, is it for the board or?
55 and older.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
the senior
so we're-
station brings a
Oh, the
bunch of
senior
people.
station, okay.
And ma'am, you better make sure you're dressed to the nines.
They're
Definitely.
sparkling.
They are
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
holiday spirit, no doubt.
But we are
Okay.
expected to do the donation of $30 each. Everybody expected
No,
to
the
do.
housing authority will cover the commissioner's costs for you and your guests. The housing authority will cover the costs.
Okay.
And so Christmas party, and then we'll close the day after Thanksgiving. That Thursday as well as that Friday, we'll be closed for the holiday. And that's all I have, unless you have some additional questions for me.
I have a question. What's the difference between, I know the location is different, for the other party that is being held at the golf club?
that's the, staff, is that Roger Brown's, that's staff.
That's over.
You talking about staff event?
The staff event that,
Yeah, that's
that
the,
we're invited to the staff
Yes.
event.
PRHA Great Gatsby Masquerade Holiday Party, yeah. What was your question?
So the staff doesn't attend the seniors holiday spectacular?
Yeah, the managers will be there at that. The social service department would be there.
Oh,
Like they
sorry.
attended last year, we would be there
Mhm.
because we want the seniors to know that we care, so we will
Of
be.
course.
Yeah, we was there last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Cause last year was the first time we had it,
Mhm.
so this is
I was
our
just trying
second
to
year.
understand the sync of having two parties in such a, you know, a short time frame.
Well,
I guess I can answer that because the one that Roger Brown, that's an employee party, just like it's not uncommon for employers to have something for the employees. So the one at Roger Brown is employee.
And this one doesn't have employees coming?
That's for the seniors.
That's for the seniors.
For the
But do
seniors.
employees attend this one
Some,
too?
not all.
Yeah.
Employees do attend this one, if they so choose.
Yeah, those managers. who
Wait a
work
minute,
with
I'm getting two different, I'm sorry.
What happened is the senior party, the managers would be coming from the community where the seniors live. They would be coming with them to the party, to senior
Okay.
party, as well
Okay.
as senior staff, like we did last year.
Well, you know, I wasn't here last year,
Right,
so
yeah.
that's why I'm trying to get clarification, because when I first read both, I said, well, wow, we got two parties going on, but, you know, you
Yeah.
clarified it.
Okay.
Gotcha. You still got the floor,
Question.
Mr. Lamb. Yes, Commissioner Wicks.
I wanna,
Commissioner Wicks, before you say that, let me pause. I apologize.
sure,
I
sure.
want to welcome our new commissioners. I want to welcome Commissioner Wicks to the board.
Thank
I want to
you,
welcome Commissioner Prince to the board. And I want to welcome Commissioner Barham to the board.
Thank you.
thank you,
Welcome.
thank
Y'all
you.
enjoy this ride, okay?
Thank
All right. Commissioner Wicks.
I'm going backwards, but just a quick question. Is there any room in the budget, or what would it take to have like a basketball court or some kind of activity, play area for the children in Dale's home?
I get back to you. Heard what I said, right?
Okay,
2 pro athletes at work.
Oh, you
I'm
said,
gonna bring it back to you.
okay,
They came to me.
okay. I thought they were just coming
No, no,
for
no,
their
no, no,
presence.
no.
I
No,
got you,
they-
got you. Okay,
And then also, we are looking at some top lots for the small kids to come
Yeah.
go out there too.
okay,
Yeah. So we are working on that, not only for Dale, but as well as for Swanson too.
Okay.
So on both of those.
okay.
Yeah, the city manager's committed to support, so we
Gotcha.
appreciate that, so we needed that from her.
Okay,
As soon as I get it right, you all gonna know, trust me.
thank
I gotta
you.
get it in writing and get it in sign thing, you know.
Okay,
Awesome.
very well.
Where we at? Where we at with that? All right. You good, Commissioner Wiggins?
no, this is where I pause to do my part that I want to talk about under comments.
It's Commissioner comments, yes.
Okay, I want to talk about this order of appointment, a special conservator of the peace. When I read this order, I had some strong concerns about it. First of all, I wanted to know who actually filled out the order. That was the first question. Secondly, as I read through the various parts, I became very concerned because of what occurred in Riverwalk, as we all remember, over a year ago. And that involved a security person, and there were things that were done, the situation escalated, and according to the article, he had been given strict instructions. Anytime something is escalating, bring in the police, bring in the police. So when I read through this order, I was very concerned. The first thing I was concerned about was some of the duties that were indicated for the special conservator. I don't think we should have the special conservator arresting suspects. I think we should leave that to the police. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it indicated, and there are a couple errors in this application. It indicated that the application was made by the sheriff or chief of police. And that's not correct. Next, on the next page, so I feel we need to delete that, given our security person arresting powers. And then it says, the special conservator may not effectuate an arrest that follows from a close pursuit beyond the following geographical limitation or distance. And instead of defining the areas of our PRHA properties, it defined the entire city of Portsmouth. That's unacceptable. We don't need to have our security officer giving chase and considering the entire city of Portsmouth, the area, as our defined area for him to give chase. Now, the other thing that was an error, there was a section completed under seal of the Commonwealth, having demonstrated that the special conservator is employed by a state agency. That is absolutely false. This is not a state agency. This is a quasi-government agency, and that box should not have been checked. The other thing that was a problem had to do with the flashing lights, that they can have the flashing, I think, the blue and white lights. I spoke personally with the chief's office, and they say that is normally reserved for fire. So I don't want to see us in any way risking our fiduciary responsibilities by having this form incorrectly completed and having areas that should not be in here. Now, my question to you, Attorney James, because this was an order that was signed by the judge, and the police department was kind enough to provide me their copy that showed that theirs was basically vacant, blank, and it was filled in by someone here at the Housing Authority. So, and I don't know if this needs a motion from us, or this is something that you all can handle within the apartment that speaks to vacating this order, because this order is incorrect. It has been filled out incorrectly, and there's areas in it that should not be the case. And so that's my question to you. In order to get a new order completed, do we need to have this order vacated through the circuit court and then a new order drawn up?
I
How
would
is
have to
this-
look into it and get back
Okay,
to
did
you.
this,
And for correction, we are a political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Virginia, so we're not a quasi-agency of the government, so that is correct.
well, you're not part of the state.
We're not
In
a
that
state, we're a
aspect.
Commonwealth,
Yeah.
we're the Commonwealth of
Yeah,
Virginia.
but see, let me
And
tell you
under the
what this
state code,
says.
we are a political subdivision.
Okay, well, accordingly, it says is employed by a state agency. We are not a state agency.
We're a political subdivision of
But
the
that's not
Commonwealth
what
of
it says.
Virginia.
That's not what it says.
But that's what it means, though.
Well, let me say this. I've spoken with the circuit court office and as well as the chief of police office. And they both say Housing Authority is not a state agency. So with that said, I would ask, without having to have a motion, I don't think we need it, but certainly we need the document. This one vacated and a new one in its place that is accurate and that does not in any way lead the person employed with us for security purposes to believe that they have arresting powers. And the other thing, even though it says, there will be no weapon carried on the PRHA properties, when you have in here that then you define your entire area as the city of Portsmouth, then the question becomes, is it possible that the person who we employ may actually be legally able to carry a weapon once he leaves our properties and goes into the city? It becomes a gray area, because if he can't have his weapon on PRHA properties, but as soon as he hits, which is here now, is the entire city of Portsmouth, he can then put on his weapon because he's legally, lawfully able to carry his weapon. That's a problem. That's why I don't want to see this with a confine of saying the entire city of Portsmouth is the area that he can give chase to. So now, do you feel, Attorney James, that this needs a motion, or this is something that you all can
Well, that's a
discuss among
decision of
yourself?
the board if a motion is necessary. I mean,
Well, I guess
I'm
I'll
sorry.
ask Mr. Bland as executive director.
Before we go into this, let me just hand this out a minute.
And just for the record, please return these back. That gentleman's social security number is up here just for identity theft purposes, please.
What I did here is, you got a list of some housing authorities, some are in Virginia, you got these that have the same, that's doing the same thing that Portsmouth is doing. But one of the things that we have been criticized for is not trying to provide adequate security for our residents. also, in doing research, if you notice there, you got Newport News, that person, they're one person operation like we are here, had that same authority. Then you have in Norfolk where it's everybody who works in that department, they have a department. But you see on there, you have a couple housing authorities, that individual person because there's only one or whatever. But these are your sister housing authorities right here in this region that have the same requirement as we now is trying to do here.
Makes sense.
So what I'm hearing is that we don't want to have that same authority like our sister housing authority have. Is that what I'm hearing?
Let me
Well, see-
respond before you respond. Because this is not apples versus oranges, and that's what you're trying to make this. We're not concerned with what the other housing authorities are doing. Because first of all, you provided a list and you did not provide copies of their order of conservatorship. Now, if you wanted to make your case, you would have provided copies of their orders of conservatorship. And you haven't done that because the fact remains, this order of conservatorship is incorrectly completed. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well,
Commissioner Prince, you got the floor.
I just wanted to say, or ask if there's some sort of point of order, whereas this sounds like much bigger than this meeting.
Yeah, it is.
Because granted, you're someone that's been here, we're new, I've not seen that except for in the packet. And obviously there's not a recreation of the wheel if there's others doing it. So I'm just, if we could table it into
Table it until when?
next meeting.
Table it with actions provided from the attorney looking at it, or just lay it on the table cold?
That deals with the courts, right? Okay.
Say that again?
I said this deals with the courts.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's at our purview.
Yeah, it deals with the courts. And the court has indicated that, and the chief of police office, that there are portion of this document that are incorrectly completed. So like I said, I have no problem with Attorney James taking the lead on this to get this document shored up correctly. I don't have a problem with that. What we don't want, as I said, we don't want the situation that they have at Riverwalk, that they had at Riverwalk. We don't want that. We don't want that. And for the
No,
sake
well
of,
taken. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can we
Yes,
just
sir.
get Mr. Bland to
Yeah.
take this for action, report on it next meeting?
That would be
That-
fine.
that-
There's
that's-
a lot,
that
there's
suits
a lot,
me.
there's a lot to cover, and we're not gonna solve it all here.
Gotcha.
That
Status,
suits me, Chairman. That suits me.
status of undeveloped properties.
Oh.
Undeveloped properties, PRHA, that's the next item I see up there, Mr. Bland. Comments, what you got in there?
I think one of the commissioners had a question about some undeveloped property. That's why it's on there.
The comment was, is they just wanted a listing of where we were before the last, before we meet with the city council, just wanna revisit the list.
Okay.
And see if there's any, and I know with Mr., I'm sorry, Philip, your last name, sir? Page. And Mr. Page, welcome to the meeting, sir. I want to officially welcome you to the PRHA family. All right, sir. But if Mr. Page could just give us an update of where the list is at, and if there's, okay, good. Again, not looking to go through the nit noise here, but just see if there's, if those ones that, again, we can be aggressive in providing it to the council and say, okay, these are ones that we want to look at shedding. They did a great job. Y'all did a great job the last time we met with them, and just want to keep the pressure on so we can keep that revenue flowing.
Can I add something? So before you is a list of properties that are CDBG funded properties that were funded with city property, or city funds, community development block grant. And so you'll see notes on the side that say process of conveying to the city. Those lots have not yet been conveyed to the city. The ones you see that's conveyed, they have been conveyed. So it's a few still remaining that need to be conveyed to the city. Now, initially, they wanted to start with the commercial property first, and so pretty much what is left over is residential. And they have not provided a date as to when they want those properties. So the ones that have been conveyed or in the process of being conveyed to the city, they have requested those properties from us.
That's the 65.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Executive director evaluation, a few months ago, remember that thing I passed out, that
Yeah.
template we could probably go off? And I never got any feedback from you guys about that, so we can do our actual evaluation of our executive director. And that's something we would do in closed session, of course.
Yeah. I didn't know you wanted it back. I thought you wanted us
Just-
to have to
I
review
just-
it. Wanted it.
Feedback from y'all, like, you know, did it, you get what I'm saying, did it make sense, fall within the lines of the things that we're looking at?
It did to me.
Okay.
I'm ready to go with
Okay,
it.
and the new commissioners, you haven't seen it yet, I'll still make sure I get it and share it with you all. Yes, sir.
One of the
Go
other
ahead.
things was I sent a note to Mr. Bland asking if he could provide to us his significant accomplishments for 2019, so we have something to look at, and then also to ask what his goals were for 2020, so we could again strategically look at where we can support him or where we can ask for, again, much like we're meeting the council to say, okay, we want to support our executive director, so Ed, if you could provide that to us at the same time that we give that information, I think we need to schedule a closed session to review those.
Special call.
Yeah. Review those comments.
Cool. All right, anything else, Commissioner? Okay.
Yeah, I just a few. EDA sent out I don't know if everybody else got it. EDA sent out a note about their Business Appreciation Holiday Open House. I would encourage commissioners to go to that. It's just a good time to meet our counterparts, and they provide great food at that thing too. So I would ask the commissioners and the senior team, it's on December the 5th at 4 o'clock. It's an invitation only, so you would have had to receive an invitation. I think, Mr. Bland, that at your level, you receive one, and I guess they give you the onus to send it out to everybody else.
They just sent me an invite.
Yeah. So, yes, sir?
They sent me an invite.
Yes, sir, good.
Yes, they are.
Community CCIA has a Martin Luther King breakfast on the 20th of January. Last year, we had a table for that. Are we looking at the same thing this year?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
I have committed the House and Authority to a table.
Okay. Mr. O's, all right? I know he's really giving you're paying a lot of attention to Mr. O's in the Westbury, that piece of property that he has. You know, I don't want to get into this tit for tat thing, but there's properties that are adjacent to that are owned by private folks that are not cutting their grass. They're just not, and he's focusing on us. But I don't want to get into that, you know.
No, please don't.
Is there some reason why we can't donate that property to them? I mean, it's right, it's like a community space almost, and, you know, I'm sure they have picnics or whatever they want to have there, but it's a circle, you know, I don't think it's anything that we can build on. Can we donate it to them or whatever their community?
But they don't have a community association with, that's part of the problem.
That's key.
Right. And the other piece is if you donate it, then the city would have to be willing to not
Right
to
off
charge
the
them
tax
tax on it.
basis.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you,
Yeah.
right, but, I think Mr. O's, I mean, he deserves something here, and I'd like him to be part of the solution rather than him telling us that we're the problem, okay? So is there any MOU maybe we could get into an agreement with them that, you know, much like we have with that Holiday Inn property, you know, we let fishing slips in the marina use that property all the time to park their cars, and we're not, you know, we don't have, you know, because if somebody got hurt on that property, we'd be responsible for it out there. But out that fishing slip, I don't think anybody really knows that doesn't belong to the marina. That's PRHA property out there. But I'm just asking, you know, if Mr. O's, because I feel for him. I know you and we all agree that we have the responsibility for it. Is there some way we can make him part of the solution rather than him telling us all the time that we're the problem? It is a It's a nice piece of property right in the middle of their subdivision, and I'm shocked that there's not a community center there or something that they can meet, but, geez, we're just getting the dog beat out of us all the time, getting the grass cut. Right. You know, if it was a lot to decide, I don't think we'd ever hear from it, but I agree with them, when it's right there, everybody comes, they've gotta go through that circle to get out of there, they see that lot, right?
I would go ahead and reach out to him
Yeah.
and talk with him.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. Well,
Commissioner Jacobs?
really it's to Ms. Adams, because the contract, when does it come up for renewal again?
Which,
To cut the Westbury, green area, is what it's officially called, the green area. And I think according to their, deed restrictions, it has to stay green like that. When does it come, can you recall right off when it comes up?
that, area is not in the, contract. However, their landscaping contract comes up in 3 years.
Well, then the area I'm talking about is under a contract with PRHA. I don't know,
We're cutting,
We're
PRJ
cutting,
staff is
we're
cutting that.
cutting.
you're cutting it.
Yes.
Oh, you,
Are now, a staff.
PRH
Staff
staff
is
is cutting.
well, is it possible to include it with?
Yes, it will be included.
Okay, so that it can get
Stay
more
maintained.
hands-on attention. I think that would be the logical solution, to have it included.
With the
Yeah,
list
with
of
the,
properties.
with the
'Cause we-
contract that you're going to let.
That's right.
Yeah, because he
We had
wasn't,
he did an addendum to add them, then we decided
because he
to.
wasn't cutting as frequently as we needed him to, so we decided to cut it, so we can control how frequently we cut it.
So you think you might addendum it back in for
Right.
the
I
next
think
they
award?
did a better
maintain it.
job controlling that and maintaining it.
We want to control it and maintain it.
The housing authority.
Just 'cause we can control how often it's cut.
I tell you, I definitely. We're trying to get the buck not to start with you, but okay.
I know, but we
I-
had it under contract, and he's also the city contractor, so a lot of times we were getting pushed to the back burner, or with rain and things of that nature that was beyond, their control. But we still needed the lots cut, so that's why we purchased the lawnmower, you all approved, and then when we purchased,
I know what you're
the,
saying. Yeah,
and then we now cut that on a regular basis,
and you want to keep it like that?
yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Put that under the.
All right.
Cut.
Chair's comments, okay. First of all, again, I would like to say welcome to our new board members, Commissioner Wicks, Commissioner Prince, Commissioner Barham, and also want to say welcome to Philip Page. Welcome to the team, sir. Doing a great job, staff. Keep up the great work. I just know this much. We're gonna have a great 2020. I do know that, and we're about to go into closed session, but we're gonna have a great 2020. We got great momentum right now. We have our ribbon cutting tomorrow for groundbreaking for Lexington Place. And then also, after that, soon will be happening is Holly Point, the property that we sold, and which has some 10 vouchers in it, and also workforce housing. So real excited in the direction we're going in on all levels. And thank you all for what you do. And just look forward to the future here at PRHA. Those are my comments to that. And with that being said, public speakers at PRHA are allowed up to 5 minutes to speak. Do we have any speakers? There being none, we have a resolution, 2019-52, resolution intent to meet in closed session.
Okay, point of order.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Chairman, before you do that, were we not supposed to actually have a briefing from our new security person? No? That's what it says on the agenda.
Oh, I see it here. Mr. Bland?
I would like to hold that until, since we have this other issue, and just do
Okay.
it all at one time,
Okay,
for the sake of time.
all right.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs.
You
Thank you,
want-
Ms. Bland. All right. Make sure I got the right, the one, big one or the small? Big one? Okay, all right. Resolution 2019-52. Resolution of intent to meet in closed meeting. Whereas the Virginia Freedom of Information Act provides that Board of Commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for the discussion or consideration of disposition of publicly held real property where a discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body set forth in section 2.2-37A3 of the Code of Virginia as amended. The matters for discussion are 0 Effingham Street, 29 Farragut Street, 1817 Frederick Boulevard, 933 Tazewell Street, and 900 County Street. Now therefore be it resolved that in compliance with the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and above referenced section of the Code, the Virginia Code, the Board of Commissioners shall reconvene in a closed meeting on November 14, 2019 for the discussion and disposition of publicly held real property pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3. Chair is in need of a motion to go into closed session.
I move.
Second.
Moving properly second, Madam Secretary.
All right, Commissioner Barham,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lalonde,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. 5-minute recess.